Hi everyone. In last lecture we have learned about the structure of ear as a part of spatial senses, and today we are going to talk about the mechanism of hearing. This question can be asked in 5 marks in exam, so it is important. And again, it is a part of physiology of spatial senses. So let's start. Sound waves travel through external auditory meatus and produce vibration in the tympanic membrane. Vibration from tympanic membrane travel through malleus and incus and reach the stapes, resulting in the movement of stapes. Movements of stapes produce vibration in the fluids of cochlea. This vibration stimulates the hair cells in organ of corti. This in turn causes generation of action potential, which is the auditory impulses in the auditory nerve fibers. When auditory impulses reach the cerebral cortex, the perception of hearing occurs. Thus, during the process of hearing, ear converts energy of sound waves into action potential in auditory nerve fibers, and this process is called sound transduction. So, this is the basic physiology, basic mechanism which is being told in brief. Now we'll see and learn about the role of every part of ear in hearing, so it would be easy to understand. First, we'll see the role of external ear. So, external ear directs the sound waves towards the tympanic membrane. Sound waves produce pressure changes over the surface of tympanic membrane. Accumulation of wax prevents conduction of sound. In many animals, the auricle or pinna can be turned to locate the source of sound. Auricle can be folded to avoid unwanted sound. But in in human, the extrinsic and intrinsic muscles of auricle are rudimentary and the movement is not possible, as we have seen in the structure of ear. Role of middle ear, and in that we'll see the role of tympanic membrane. Due to the pressure changes produced by sound waves, tympanic membrane vibrates. In other words, it moves in and out of middle ears. Thus, tympanic membrane acts as a resonator that reproduces the vibration of sound. Role of auditory ossicles. Vibrations set up in tympanic membrane are transmitted through the malleus and incus and reach to the stapes, causing to and fro movement of stapes against the oval window and against perilymph present in the scala vestibuli of cochlea. Now we'll see the term called impedance matching. So, what is impedance matching? Impedance matching is a process by which tympanic membrane and auditory ossicles convert the sound energy into mechanical vibration in cochlear fluid with minimum loss of energy by matching the impedance offered by fluid. Impedance means obstruction or opposition to the passage of the sound waves. When sound waves reach inner ear, the fluid or perilymph in cochlea offers impedance. The fluid resists the transmission of sound due to its own inertia. Tympanic membrane and auditory ossicles effectively reduce the sound impedance. Sound waves are conducted from external ear to inner ear with an impedance of only 40%, and remaining 60% of sound energy developed in tympanic membrane is transmitted to cochlear fluid by ossicles. This way, along with the help of tympanic membrane, ossicles match the impedance offered by fluid to a great extent. It is because the ossicles are like a lever system so that stapes exerts a greater force or pressure against the cochlear fluid. This results in a generation of vibration in the cochlear fluid. The increased force is very essential to set up the vibration in cochlear fluid because of higher inertia of the fluid. Force exerted by the foot plate of stapes on cochlear fluid is 70 to 22 times greater than the force exerted by the sound waves at the tympanic membrane. It is because of two structural features of ossicles. First is a head of malleus, which is longer than long process of incus, so that a higher force is generated in small structure. Surface area of tympanic membrane is larger compared to that of foot plate of stapes. So the pressure increases when force is applied to a small area. This way, the tympanic membrane and the auditory ossicles are capable of converting the sound energy into mechanical vibration in cochlear fluid with minimum loss of energy. Now we'll see the significance of the impedance matching. Impedance matching is the most important function of middle ear. Because of impedance matching, the sound waves are transmitted to cochlea with minimum loss of intensity. Without impedance matching, conductive deafness occurs. Now we'll see the types of conduction. The conduction of sound from external ear to internal ear through middle ear occurs by three routes. First is ossicular conduction, second is air conduction, and third is a bone conduction. Ossicular conduction. Ossicular conduction is the conduction of sound waves through middle ear by auditory ossicles. In normal conditions, the sound waves are conducted through auditory ossicles. Now we'll see the air conduction. Air conduction is the conduction of sound waves through air in middle ear. If the ossicular chain is broken, conduction occurs in an alternate route of air conduction. Air conduction is common in otosclerosis. And otosclerosis is a disease associated with the fixation of stapes to oval window. This oval window and round window is in cochlea, just for your knowledge. Third one is the bone conduction. Bone conduction is the conduction of sound waves through middle ear by bones. It occurs when middle ear is affected. In this type of conduction, sound waves are transmitted to cochlear fluid by the vibration set up in skull bones. Bone conduction is tested by placing vibrating tuning fork or other vibrating bodies directly on the skull. This route plays a role in transmission of extremely loud sounds. Now we'll see the role of eustachian tube. Eustachian tube is not concerned with hearing directly. However, it is responsible for the equalizing the pressure on either side of the tympanic membrane. Now we'll see the role of inner ear. First, we'll talk about the traveling wave. Movement of foot plate of stapes against oval window causes movement of perilymph in scala vestibuli. This fluid does not move all the way from oval window to round window through helicotrema. It immediately hits the vestibular membrane near oval window, and this causes movement of fluid in scala media, since the vestibular membrane is flexible. Movement of fluid in scala media causes bulging of basal portion of basilar membrane towards the scala tympani. Bulging of basilar membrane increases the elastic tension in basilar fibers in the portion of basilar membrane. Elastic tension in basilar fibers initiates a wave which travels along basilar membrane towards the helicotrema like that of arterial pulse wave. It is called the traveling wave. So this is the figure showing how the wave is traveling. So this is the cochlea. So any figure more of like test tube in test tube जेवी होय, right? You can see that. This is the oval window. This is a round window. What we are talking about. This is the scala vestibuli, this is the scala tympani, and the middle portion is called the scala media. And this is the helicotrema. This is the basilar membrane, and this would be the vestibular membrane. Now we'll talk about the resonance point. Resonance point is a part of basilar membrane which is activated by traveling wave. In the beginning, each traveling wave is weak. While traveling through basilar membrane from base towards apex, the wave becomes stronger and stronger. And at the point of basilar membrane, it becomes very strong and activates the basilar membrane. This resonance point of basilar membrane immediately vibrates back and forth. The traveling wave stops here and does not travel further. Distance between stapes and resonance point is inversely proportional to frequency of sound waves reaching to ear. Traveling wave generated by high-pitched sound disappears near the base of the cochlea. Wave generated by medium pitched sound reaches half of the way, and the wave generated by low pitched sound travels the entire distance of basilar membrane. Excitation of the hair cells. Stereocilia of hair cells in organ of Corti are embedded in tectorial membrane. Hair cells are tightly fixed by cuticular lamina reticularis and the pillar cells or rods of Corti. When traveling wave causes vibration of basilar membrane at the resonance point, the basilar fiber, rod of Corti, hair cells and lamina reticularis move as a single unit. It causes the movement of stereocilia, leading to excitement of hair cells and generation of receptor potential. Electrical events during the process of hearing, which is sound transduction. Sound transduction is a type of sensory transduction in the hair cell in organ of Corti by which the sound energy is converted into action potential in the auditory nerve fiber. Role of hair cells. Inner hair cells and outer hair cells have different roles during the sound transduction. Role of inner hair cells. Inner hair cells are responsible for sound transduction. In other words, these receptor cells are the primary sensory cells which cause the generation of action potential in auditory nerve fibers. Role of outer hair cells. Outer hair cells have a different action. These hair cells are shortened during depolarization and elongated during the hyperpolarization. This process is called the electromotility or mechanoelectrical transduction. This action of outer hair cells facilitates the movement of basilar membrane and increases the amplitude and sharpness of sound. Hence, the outer hair cells are collectively called cochlear amplifier. The electromotility of the hair cell is due to the presence of the contractile protein, which is called the pristine. Endocochlear potential or endolymphatic potential. Endocochlear or endolymphatic potential is the electrical potential developed in fluid outside the hair cells. Cochlear fluids are extracellular fluids in the inner ear. These fluids are perilymph and endolymph, which have different compositions. Perilymph. Scala vestibuli and scala tympani are filled with the perilymph, which is similar to ECF in composition with high concentration of sodium ions. Endolymph. Scala media is filled with endolymph, which contains high concentration of potassium and low concentration of sodium. It is due to the continuous secretion of potassium ions by stria vascularis into scala media. At last, we will see the properties of sound. Sound has two basic properties. First is a pitch, which depends upon the frequency of sound. frequency of sound waves. Frequency of sound is expressed in hertz. Frequency of sound audible to human ear lies between 20 and 20,000 hertz or cycles per second. The range of greatest sensitivity lies between 2000 and 3000 hertz or cycle per second. Second is a loudness or intensity, which depends upon the amplitude of sound waves. It is expressed in decibel. The threshold intensity of sound wave is not constant. It varies in accordance to the frequency of sound. So this was about the mechanism of ear. Again, it is being asked in 5 marks question, so it is important. And let me know if you are having any query.